Hi there, Tom at Ledgemere. I usually wait until there's a foot of snow on the ground and it's 10 below zero before I do this, but today I want to put the regular ice chains, regular snow chains on the Max 26. The 1635, I'll do that tomorrow. There's a few different ways to do this, and your way may be different than mine, but I'm going to go put these on and you can follow along and tell me what I'm doing wrong. Just comment down below. If you haven't already, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you along. So let's get the tractor out and get the chains on. First thing I need to do is get these chains laid out so I can drape them over the wheels. So you just saw me wrestling with them a little bit, and the reason I was doing that is both chains are identical. Generally, I like to have the fasteners going towards the front, but when you have them both the same and they're not mirror images, this tensioner right here, I like to keep on the outside and the hook on the inside. And in order to do that with the hooks facing outwards so they don't dig into your tire, I have to put the hooks facing the back. So I've got it all laid out. Put this one on, and then we'll put the other one on and drive ahead and tighten them up. When I start, I like to have the chains about halfway between the top and the rim. Make sure your hooks here are facing outwards so they don't dig into your tire. And you want to kind of go over a little bit and make sure you don't have any twists. Sometimes these will get turned inside out and then you'll end up with a twist in it, so you got to be kind of careful of that. So we got this side on. Let's go do the other side. Right here, I've got this twist so it almost looks like it's inside out, so let's see if I can fix that. They're not perfectly centered at the same length, so I'll do this side first. Move ahead a little bit and tie up the other side. I'm going to go drive this around a little bit and then see if I need to make any adjustments. Sometimes I'll put bungee cords on the sides to kind of bring the edges in. You don't always have to, but sometimes I do. Some people will jack the tire up, and I can do that on my lawn and garden tractor, no sweat. You jack it up, you tighten it up. Sometimes you let the air out, but this has beet juice in it, as does the big tractor, so letting the air out of it isn't really something that I'm going to do. So I generally put them on as best I can, run it a little bit, and then make adjustments as necessary. So take it for a little ride and then come back. So I'm heading over to grab a tote of grain over at my sister. In an earlier video I showed you harvesting the grain. Today we're going to go over, and they've probably got the mixer mill out behind the tractor. And so what they do is they take the corn from the silo, mix it in with some oats, and Well, it mixes it all up in the mixer mill, obviously, and then they put it in 1,000-pound. My sister's farm was a University of Maine experimental farm back in the 1800s. Luther Moore was a lawyer. He was the president of the Senate. He was a House of Representatives. He built all this back in the 1860s. Back when I was a kid, this was the freestall barn here. And then we had a milking parlor here. It was a 5.5, I think. When I was really little, the big barn I showed you when I first drove in, they had the cows all tied up in the basement, and it was a pipeline that had a vacuum. So the pump was down there and the vacuum steel lines, and then you just walk around with like a surge milker and plug it into the line, and you'd fill up the can with milk and then take it up and dump it in the bulk tank in the milk house. A real good picture, but the mixer mill's on the back. There's my corn. So I'm gonna do a couple things at the same time, which is pretty much a way of life around here. I went and grabbed the grain, and it was just busy over there, so I didn't really take a lot of time to shoot video on it. But we got my catch basin down here. This is the same on all the Farmall touch control units, like the Super A, the 100, 130, Super C, etc. Right here's your drain. This right here is the blank out plate if you don't have a touch controlled temperature gauge, which this one doesn't, but I do have the right plate for the gauge, and I have the gauge, so that's going to be installed after the oil's taken out. And right here is the fill for the hydraulic wrench. Take this off and take this one off. This is probably one of my favorite tools on the whole place, is an adjustable wrench. And I usually don't go to another wrench until I've already pretty much rounded the bolts off, but this is a square right here, so adjustable works perfectly. It's kind of a gross pukey color. I have my tractor parked funny. I'm gonna put this bucket on, go get the chains, and then come back and grab the forks. Have the snowblower all ready to go. I put lithium grease on the chains. That's what was recommended to me. You can still see a lot of graphite on there from last year. And then the chute I spray with silicone in there. If you stop blowing snow for a second and the auger stops, that thing will plug solid. I have a nice set of ring chains, double ring chains. It came with the Super A, or whatever you want to call it. It's like Marley and Scrooge. Here's this thing. Holy smoke. Freeze it in the garage, working on the Super A. I got the chains on the Mahindra finally, and so I want to change out this tank. I've got a much better tank over here that I want to put on it. I'm taking this whole bracket off initially, and then I can clean it up and put the bracket on the new tank. There's two bolts here. There's one here and one there, and then there's one on each side of the touch control that holds the tank on. I've got 3 of the 4 off. I've got the fuel off. I've got one more bolt here to remove, and obviously this one's a little bit crowded because I gotta get by the linkage for the throttle. I don't want it to fall off. It's supposed to be, I think, in the 50s on Sunday, so I can take that bracket off the hanger there for the tank support, and I can paint that real quick and then put it back on. With it being winter, I've got every single thing tucked under cover wherever I can fit it, and there's just not a lot of walking space in here. I drained the touch control out the other day. This old plate here off the touch control, and I had this one right here, and this will do the temperature gauge for the touch control unit. What I don't want to do is break the glass bowl off this either. Once I get this all cleaned up, I've got a wire brush around the engine block here and behind. Get the touch control unit cleaned up. I can get in here at the bell housing, and I'm definitely taking this heater hose mess off here that went down to that heater. So we'll get that junk all off. I'm gonna see if I got the right adapters here, right in here, and that'll let me put the temp gauge on. These then typically come with a temp gauge, unless they had a radiator shutter on it, which this one doesn't, but I know where it goes, and I actually have a temp gauge, and I have to get in there anyway, so instead of just putting a nut on it, I'll actually put a gauge on there. I can get the top of the governor cleaned up. I can get in here and check this touch control all out and make sure that all looks good. So I'll leave the tank off for a while until this is all cleaned up. Get that cleaned up. I'm gonna refill the touch control unit over here and check for leaks. And the gas tank will be one of the last things that goes back on, with the hood obviously. If you haven't already, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel, and you'll get to see firsthand this cosmetic restoration is mostly what's happening. A few mechanical things as we run into them, but I'm not going to be taking the motor apart. It doesn't use oil, doesn't burn oil. There's no funny noises coming out of it, and it's not leaking. Nothing is leaking out of it, so I don't see any point in getting in there. But we're going to do all the systems. We'll get the touch control, the fuel system, the carburetor. We'll get in here into the distributor a little bit, and the cooling system, we'll have to get in that. Also, the charging system isn't working, so we'll have to get that going. So there's quite a bit to do on this tractor, and I really hope that you'll subscribe and click the bell icon, and then you'll see when the new videos come up. So if you like this, hit the subscribe button, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you for watching.